Hi, Charles with SirBookSage here, and this is a January 2018 book haul, part 1, physical books. I'm going to be doing a follow-up to this, part 2, which is just all the ebooks I've been buying. Today is just a short, quick physical book haul. And I am going to start off here with the last 2 books in one of the big, grand epic fantasy series, and that's The Wheel of Time. For those of you who may not be aware, there is a Watt-along, a Wheel of Time readathon taking place. It just started in January, and there's 14 books in the series, so I'm guessing for the next 14 months, each month they're going to be reading and discussing each book in the series. There is a live stream coming up. I believe it might even be this coming weekend. It might be February 3rd. I have to go back and double check, but where they're going to be discussing The Eye of the World, the first book. I will leave a link down below to the Goodreads group and to the original announcement video. So if that's something you're interested in diving in at some point, it's going to be going on all year. I've owned the first 12 of the 14 books, plus the prequel. And I was in the Barnes & Nobles a couple weeks ago, I think, and they had books 13 and 14, so I decided to pick them up finally. So book 13 is The Towers of Midnight, and book 14 is A Memory of Light. And I have read the first 6 books, and I started rereading them early in 2017, and I'm halfway through book 5, so when this readathon catches up to where I'm at, I'll be jumping in and continuing it. One little note here, side note, I know it's a divergence from the book haul, but all of the covers were painted by Darrell K. Sweet, who in the fantasy world is a very well-known artist. You can pretty much tell his work right away. He's got a very specific style, particularly of people. But Darrell K. Sweet passed away before the series finished. So he has done the cover art of the first 13 books, but did not get to do the final book 14. And Michael Whalen, who is also another pretty prominent artist in the fantasy world, he was commissioned to do the final book cover. And I how Whalen kept to Darrell K. Sweet's aesthetic, to that look. So it doesn't look out of place. It doesn't look really like a completely different artist. So big props to the publishing company for keeping this sort of thematic look, and big props to Michael Whalen for, crafting this painting to fit the into Darrell K. Sweet's sort of look. So very well done, I think. Next up is a book that I knew I was going to be purchasing. This is one of the first books that I knew I was going to buy because of BookTube, though it wasn't published at the time, so it didn't end up becoming my first book bought because of BookTube. And if you want to know what that book is, I'll link up here to a video where I do a little video about my first BookTube purchase. But anyway, this one comes from the author Jen Campbell, and she has one of my favorite channels on YouTube. It's a great BookTube channel, a great AuthorTube channel, really, really wonderful videos. And that is The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night. This is a book of short stories, and I'm going to read just a little blurb on the back. It says, stories of family and magic, lost souls and superstition, spirits and jam jars, mini apocalypses, animal hearts, and sideshows. Mermaids are on display at the local aquarium. A girl runs a coffin hotel on a remote island, and a couple are rewriting the history of the world in the middle of the night. So I have been just super intrigued about these short stories since I first heard about them, since I first discovered Jen's channel, and I'm finally glad to have picked this up, and I'm looking forward to reading it. This is going to be read pretty soon, most likely in February. So when I get around to my February TBR, you'll probably be seeing this one there. And super excited. And that is just such an awesome cover. I mean, that really is just a spectacular cover. If I was an author and wrote a book and they gave me a cover like that, I would be pretty ecstatic. Really, really nice. Next up is going back to classics. And a friend of mine, my friend Sparrow, she participates in local theater from time to time. So does her daughters. And they are going to be doing Hamlet. And she's not going to be acting in it. She's just going to be helping behind the scenes. Her daughter, I think, is going to be in the play. And she mentioned to me that her favorite one they did was The Tempest. And I mentioned that I never read The Tempest. And I was declared to be a complete and total, absolute, utter failure as a reader, and that I needed to correct that. So I went out to Barnes & Noble the next day and picked up The Tempest. Now, I am not familiar with these particular Barnes & Noble editions, so if you're familiar with them, I'm just curious what you think about them. Most of my Shakespeare are old paperbacks from a long, long time ago. I know there's a complete William Shakespeare hardcover somewhere. I imagine it's floating around the family. I'm not sure who has it these days. But I picked this one up, and I'm looking forward to reading it. And then there's supposedly a really, really cool movie adaptation of this. I've seen a little clip of it, and I definitely am going to watch that after I read this. So, looking forward to it. And last up are two books from an author who is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors of all time. She's an automatic buy for me at this point. If I see a new book from her, I'm purchasing it. You know, you have some of those authors that you're just going to buy it because you love their writing and you love their works. And that is Nnedi Okorafor's Akata Witch, and her most recent book from this series, book 2, Akata Warrior. And I am super excited about this. And this is a Nigerian-American girl discovers latent magical powers and saves the world kind of story. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. I hear just absolutely wonderful things about these books. And that's my book haul. And yeah, it's really difficult to not just dive right into these right away. But her Bindi trilogy is up first before I get to the Akata books. And that's my book haul. Have you read any of these books? If so, let me know in the comments what you think of them. If you are interested in reading any of these, again, I haven't read them myself, but from what I know of Nnedi's writing, from what I've read already, she's absolutely brilliant writer. I don't think you can go wrong. Look for part 2 coming up, maybe next Wednesday or maybe this weekend. It depends upon if I ever get back to a normal working schedule at work. And that's going to be all the ebooks that I purchased in the past month, thereabouts. And there's quite a few more ebooks than there are physical books. And I am Charles of SirBookSage. Happy reading.